customer leaves a note for a pregnant waitress. Minutes later, she's in tears. The day started just like any other for this pregnant waitress. What she didn't know was that something would happen at work, making her burst into tears and changing her life. Keep watching to learn about just what went down that day. Before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for daily amazing videos. She struggled more than usual that day. She was already in her third trimester and had grown big. Her back was sore and her feet were heavy. She waddled to the table to collect the bill and dishes. However, by then, the police officer had already left. She opened the folder containing the check and found the note that the officer had left for her. She couldn't help herself. She went straight to her manager as she struggled to contain her tears. She might have been 8 months pregnant, but Courtney Cadigan didn't stop working at the Lamppost Diner, and she did all the shifts she could manage. She was thinking about the future and wanted to have financial stability by the time the baby arrived. Courtney was about to become a mother and knew that saving all the money that she could was important. Everyone knows how expensive kids are. Waiting on tables is a hard job. What many people don't realize is that waiters and waitresses have to be on their feet for several hours but still make really low salaries. Also, a lot of customers do not tip nearly enough, which doesn't help the cause at all. The diner had regular customers, including policemen who would have something to eat before their shift started. However, that day there was an officer who came in that Courtney didn't recognize. The officer left some money for the meal he had and a note for Courtney. She had never received a note like that before. To say the least, she was quite surprised and wasn't ready for it. She was due to give birth on April Fool's, and it was looming ever nearer. Courtney was certainly worried about making ends meet. To make things worse, she and her baby's father ended their relationship badly. She'd have to face motherhood alone. Courtney was thinking about this when the officer came in the diner and sat down. Bringing him a menu, she walked over to him and welcomed the cop. Police officers in the Voorhees Township Police Department are the regulars at the diner. When Courtney saw one officer she didn't recognize, she had the feeling that something was up. Courtney tried not to think too much about it and walked over to the police officer. She took his order the same way she would with other customers. The encounter only became stranger from there, though. It's been a while since Courtney last heard from her ex, which was rather worrying. The expectant mother wanted the father of her baby to be involved in the child's life, in spite of the bad end of their relationship. Courtney's ex didn't really treat her with the respect which she deserved. However, she pushed those thoughts aside and, with a smile, pulled out her pad and got ready to take note of the officer's order. Courtney felt slightly uncomfortable when the mystery officer walked into the diner. She was pretty sure it was the first time she'd seen him. Speaking to him, she looked at his face carefully and tried to place him. Maybe he wasn't from these parts, or he didn't frequent this diner. As for Courtney, she only hoped that her ex wasn't involved or she wasn't in trouble. However, her fears were not calmed by the officer's stony face. Courtney did her best to try and exchange pleasantries. She tried to engage the officer in small talk. However, each time she did, he'd shut her down. She commented about the weather or his order, but he just nodded and smiled tightly. The officer wanted a green salad and drinking water. While she was relieved to be out of the really awkward situation, she knew that he was carefully watching her as she waddled over to the kitchen. After coming back from the kitchen, Courtney saw the diner had filled up. There was a couple seated behind the officer. She approached them right away and introduced herself. The couple immediately noticed her huge baby bump and tired eyes, but she shrugged off their concern. Courtney explained the situation as she recalled, "I was telling the people at the table behind him that it was my first baby." She also added, "I was going out of work soon." Before the couple told her their orders, they congratulated Courtney warmly. They weren't aware the cop was listening to every word. She served his salad and then went to serve the other customers, and the officer watched her every move. The officer wolfed down his salad. He also chugged the glass of water very quickly. He then raised his hand to ask for the bill. Courtney brought over the check and the total was $9. The diner was getting busier, so Courtney left the officer and hurried to get diners their orders. She was doing her duties when he left, so she didn't notice that he had already walked out. When Courtney finally got to open the leather folder, there was enough cash in it to cover the meal. However, written on the bill was a note directed at her, and it made her knees weak. He must have overheard my conversation with other customers, Courtney later recalled. However, what was the note about? Was it to shame her for working while she was pregnant? Or he might have thought the service was really slow and she couldn't move around really quickly. She read the note slowly and carefully. Courtney couldn't believe her eyes. On the bill he wrote, "Enjoy your first, you will never forget it." The note was $9. How nice was that? He was wishing her luck. When she saw the tip amount, Courtney almost fell over, and with her pregnancy hormones raging, she couldn't believe the man's generosity. She was in tears, unable to stop herself. She went straight to her manager. Trying to stop her tears, yet failing miserably, Courtney went inside the back room with the bill in hand. Seeing that her employee was distraught, her boss thought that something really bad had happened. It might have been a mistake, or the officer couldn't see very well. Perhaps he thought he had to pay more and he only meant to give $10 and not $100. These scenarios didn't sound likely, though. Courtney couldn't believe it was intention to leave the $100 tip. Courtney later said, "We didn't even talk really. I brought him his menu, he ordered a salad, and I got it for him. I was telling the people at the table behind him it was my first baby." The man must have heard what she said to the other customers and decided to help. After taking time to catch her breath, she explained everything. Courtney still couldn't believe it, though. The man left a $100 tip, which was far more than what she earned in a whole day. Courtney had a hard time believing that someone, especially a complete stranger, would do a really kind thing for her. She knew that stories like this existed, but she only saw them on the news. It also happened to other people, and not to a small-town girl such as herself. Nothing like this had happened to her before. "It's truly a blessing to come across people like him, and I'm forever thankful for that," Courtney said to the Gloucester Township Patch. Once she recovered from her shock, she thought of showing the officer her gratitude in person. However, was it possible? Hoping that the officer hadn't left yet, Courtney went to the parking lot in a hurry. But her heart fell after discovering he was no longer there. How could she look for the nice officer when she didn't even know his name? When Courtney came home from her shift, she phoned the Voorhees Township Police Department to try to track the kind officer down. She also recounted what happened to her at work to her father, Brian. The generous tip really took her father aback, and he decided to post a photo of the note which Courtney got on Facebook. "What a wonderful person to not only leave a very generous tip, but a lovely message too," he wrote. Brian added, "It's not the amount, it's the humanity of it." He also said he saw she was struggling and a young girl. She was working in a diner while pregnant, standing with that kind of weight on her, and it was his way of saying, "I understand your struggle." The mystery officer did more that day, though. He made a huge impact on Courtney's dad, one which would stay with her dad for a long time. What exactly were we talking about? Brian wrote this in his post on Facebook. "You always hear about how bad the police are, how they treated you like dirt, how they're on a power trip," he continued. "I'm sure there are some bad apples, but most of them are just doing their jobs. They deal with the worst of society every day and have to keep going back every day and deal with it all over again." The opinion Brian had about police officers has changed owing to the generous officer. Brian's post on Facebook became viral in no time. It received an impressive 10,000 reactions, got 1,000 comments, and was shared thousands of times. Courtney's story was something people couldn't get enough of. "What a wonderful thing to do. This story warms my heart. I've always respected police officers," one commenter wrote. However, the post did not just shatter misconceptions about cops. After her father's post went viral, people around the world have gotten in touch with Courtney. The Lamppost Diner got many calls from people who wanted to contact her. Most of them wanted to donate money in order to help her out. Manager Victor Sierra explained, "They want to know if they can help her because it's her first child." He went on and added, "It's the gesture about someone helping someone else." However, perhaps you're wondering if Courtney was able to thank the generous police officer in person. Apparently, the mystery officer wanted to remain anonymous. It seems like it was already enough for him that he was able to help Courtney, who was in need. However, was this enough for her, or did Courtney seek more? Courtney and her father certainly wanted to express their gratitude, but they didn't know who the officer was, so they tried to come up with a way to do it. They would like to respect his wishes, however they wanted him to get recognized as well. They finally thought of a way to show their gratitude. The dad and daughter decided to pay the Voorhees Police Department a visit and give the whole team boxes of donuts. The Voorhees Police posted this on Twitter to express their gratitude. Thanks to Brian Cadigan and Courtney English for bringing in treats for our staff this morning. They promised that the anonymous officer was told personally about Courtney and Brian being forever grateful. The story didn't actually end there. If you're wondering whatever happened to Courtney's baby, she gave birth to a healthy and beautiful baby girl. If that isn't exciting enough, there's another twist to the story. Courtney's ex-boyfriend and the father of her baby is back in their lives. We're glad to report that just before they welcomed their beautiful baby into the world, the couple made amends. They can begin their life together as a whole family. On April 6th, a loving mom and dad welcomed baby Kaylee Ann into this world. She was 7 pounds 3 ounces. A lot of love brought her into the world. What a lucky baby girl. Courtney's actually thriving in motherhood. Her dedication and hard work has been carried over to parenting, but she's decided to take a break from being a waitress at the diner for now. Courtney just wanted a break from the hustle. She also wanted to be able to focus more on her little girl. Her little one may be unable to express her gratitude at the moment, but we're sure she will someday. Courtney may have chosen to take a break from the diner for now, but she'll forever remember the experience she had on that fateful day. Even though $100 doesn't go very far with a newborn, for her the thought and kindness is worth millions. Courtney was struggling that day when she was given the $100 tip. Aside from making her smile, it also somehow eased her nerves about giving birth and the financial burdens involved. You never really know if someone's feeling down. Helping people could make their day. If you're mean to someone, on the other hand, it could ruin their day, especially if they're already fragile. We have to remember this all the time. Courtney assumed it won't ever happen to her, but it did. So never assume it can only happen to other people. This is an excellent story for everyone to take notes from. Although $100 is not doable for everyone, even $5 is an amazing gift for someone in need. $10 extra, or even $5, would have put a smile on Courtney's face. So many people are in need, and we can always help them out. Charity isn't always about giving money. It can also mean giving your service and time. Courtney appeared on many news channels after getting the generous tip. The story and the kind act by the police officer for the mother-to-be enthralled the world. A lot of Americans thought the story was heartwarming. Courtney was thrilled her diner, as well as the kind officer and his squad, got some good publicity. In addition, she was glad the story touched a lot of people, but she wasn't alone. As a waitress and working mother, Courtney hoped people would see how much receiving the tip meant to her. People can stiff waitstaff a lot, so it certainly means a great deal when the opposite happens. She also hoped that the story reached women and gave them confidence to work even while they're pregnant. It's Courtney's belief that it's absolutely natural and normal for moms to want to work in order to support their families. Hopefully, her story has helped women that are expecting or planning to have children in the future. Courtney hopes that her everyday actions show her baby it's possible for her to become whoever she wants to be. It's Courtney's plan that when baby Kaylee Ann is older, she's going to teach her daughter all about dedication, hard work, and the most important of all, kindness. Another person who was also thankful for the kindness that Courtney and her baby received was her fiancé and the father of her child. It made him glad to know that she worked in an environment which was warm and friendly and had great people. Courtney hopes that she can soon go back to her happy place. However, she's spending some time with her family for now and watching her baby girl grow up. She knew saving up prior to giving birth was right. Baby Kaylee Ann is lucky to have hardworking and inspiring parents. In the long run, it's great for kids to see their parents working hard. She'll likely grow to be like her parents who are motivated. We're happy to see little Kaylee Ann getting along pretty well with the family dog. They both look super excited to have their photo taken. How adorable is baby Kaylee with her purple socks and bow. After drinking her nighttime milk, Kaylee likes watching films with her dad. The two look rather cozy resting together. They seem to have an incredible relationship already. We don't know about you, but we think Kaylee is surely a daddy's girl. She also enjoys spending time with her mom. Courtney usually finds baby videos on YouTube, which Kaylee likes watching. Whatever they do, the mother and daughter do it together. Kaylee's also blessed since she has a really caring godmother, Haley, Courtney's younger sister. Kaylee's godmother is really excited to become an important person in this little girl's life. Nap it out when in doubt. Babies are not the only ones who need lots of rest. Their parents do too. Anybody who has kids knows how difficult the stage can be. The two seem as if they're trying to catch some deep sleep. That day, Courtney was struggling to make ends meet. She felt like it was one of her darkest days. However, someone kind thankfully stepped in and showed her kindness that ended up brightening her day. She won't ever forget the kind heart of the police officer.